Hey fellas, I'm at Mom's. I figured one of my good sources of info from James Brown. He's the Heresy Financial. He's a heretic, much like myself. A lot of my thinking comes from stuff that he says. He did a beautiful email recently. I have to read it to you, okay? Hopefully we can get this done under 3 minutes. Dear Michael, 2 weeks ago, the world's political and financial elite gathered in Davos. There were private jets, 5-star hotels in the Alps, chauffeurs, convoys, security details. Also, they could tell the rest of the world how to consume less. The stated theme was a spirit of dialogue, just like you and I do here. As per usual, there were numerous panels on things like sustainability, equity, climate action, and global resilience. Watching the entire charade unfold, I couldn't help but think about Animal Farm. Now, if any of you are as old as me, or anybody had any kind of inclination, you read this book. In case you haven't read the book or it's just been a while, here's a quick rundown. The pigs convinced the animals to band together to overthrow the farmer in the name of equality. They abolished private property. They promised fairness, shared prosperity, and justice. But the work just gets harder. The rations get smaller. The pigs say things are improving, but everyone else feels the truth in their bones. Welcome to the Bolsheviks. Welcome to the reason Hitler was created. And someone always has to decide who gets what. That someone becomes the pigs. The pigs take more. They change the rules. They reward themselves for all the hard work they're doing on everyone else's behalf. By the end, the animals look from pig to man and back again and can no longer tell which is which. Davos, the Animal Farm with room service. Despite all the talk about sustainability, equity, and climate action, here's the reality of Davos. 157 private jets landed in the first 48 hours alone. The most common was the $78 million Gulfstream G650. Meanwhile, Greenpeace clocked 709 flights during the week. 709 private flights during the week, almost one jet for every 4 attendees. Most of them could have been replaced with the train rides in under 6 hours. Hotel costs $3,000 per night. Delegations booked the entire chalets for $30,000 a week, and some attendees even brought their own chefs. And that's just the conspicuous consumption on the surface. There's also the seedy underbelly that lays bare their rampant hypocrisy. Demand for sex workers surged by over 4,000%. One client spent $114,000 to keep 5 women on standby for 4 days. Another reportedly paid an escort just to sit in sweatpants and listen to him rehearse his speech in his $5,000 a night suite. And we haven't even talked about how many Davos attendees were caught in the latest release of the fucking pedo Epstein files. Meanwhile, insiders Davos Congress Center, a panel warned that misinformation posed a bigger global threat than climate change. I wonder why, huh? Secrecy and accountability, they don't actually work for those that are in charge, do they? A panel warned of misinformation poses a bigger global threat than climate change. One session openly debated how tech platforms should moderate harmful content while still balancing freedom of expression. European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen, that fucking cunt, even promoted a new digital service law to control what platforms promote and propagate. And Jita Gopinath, former IFF official and Harvard economist, warned, we might be at the beginning of a once in a century breakdown of the global order. Fuck yeah, bring it on! In other words, the system that gave these people power, access, and insulation starting to fracture, and their proposed response? To increase control. Free speech was framed as a governance risk. Markets were framed as unpredictable and unjust, and that's because what Davos really fears isn't inequality, it's the loss of top-down control. Free markets work from the bottom up, billions of people making independent decisions. Amen to that, brother. They can't be controlled from the top down. Most of the time, they can't even be predicted. That's why technocrats fear them. And that's why at Davos, the narrative was clear. Markets must be guided, speech must be managed, and outcomes must be coordinated. All by the people already in charge. Funnily enough, there's a new movie remake of Animal Farm. Only this time, instead of being a critique against Soviet totalitarianism, the enemy is now capitalism instead. The Telegraph did a post. The Animal Farm film blames capitalism and has a happy ending. It's ironic, but all it's part of the same narrative. The pigs say they're working for the good of common folk, and they need to do that by deciding who gets what. But that's been proven time and time. But it's been proven time and time again. When we have people at the top deciding who eats, those people always somehow eating first. So don't believe what they tell you, because while the pigs never starve, the animals always do. Until next time, here's to being a fucking animal.